Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. I'm Azmat Shah from Drupak, a Drupal based web development training company based in Pakistan. This is going to be a massive demo and a tutorial for creating a Tailwind CSS and Alpine JS based Drupal theme with support for Storybook and with the support for Storybook and single directory components. The version of Drupal we are using is Drupal 11 in this demo. So what we are going to cover actually in this whole session, we are going to cover setting up a Drupal theme with Tailwind CSS and Alpine JS. We'll set up Storybook also using Storybook module and then some configuration so that it is visible in Drupal. And then we will also create SDC components and show them in Storybook. So the main purpose of Storybook basically is to build components in isolation. So even if the Drupal structure is not entirely set up, you can have a go through of all the SDC components and their designs. So that's what we will achieve in this. And then uh, we'll have some Drupal site building techniques using the SDC display module, which will render the Drupal structure in single directory components. This is a very powerful feature which we can adopt in our workflows. So there is a lot to learn, and one thing at the end I must say, this whole presentation was actually recorded on 25th of January 2025, and we already have posted the outcome of this presentation to drupal.org as our contribution. So if you go to drupal.org/project/tailpine, so this is going to be a new theme and the whole of our team is working on it. It is under some heavy development now, and you will soon see a release of this, which will hopefully be used in future for any Tailwind CSS based themes in Drupal, and with the support of Storybook and Alpine JS. And we are hoping that it also will be one of the go-to theme, just like we have very successful bootstrap theme for many versions of Drupal. So I will now switch to the demo we recorded on 25th of January 2025. Thank you. So this demo will be all practical. I don't want to have slides for it, so that you can just be quick enough to launch it on your own machines as well. I have gone ahead and created a folder. I will call it SDC4. This is just an empty folder. If I need to zoom it in for you, so this is just an empty folder, SDC4. I'll open it in a new terminal. And I also have gone ahead and written a few steps so that I can just copy them and paste them. So we'll be using ddev for our local setup, and ddev is recommended by the Drupal community. It's a very powerful Docker based environment, so all of the setting will be done inside the ddev. First things first, I will just run this command in the folder, SDC4 folder, ddev config -- project type is Drupal, and maybe if you have a newer version of ddev, so you will have to give Drupal 11, but Drupal is fine. And then the PHP version has to be 8.3. And by the way, I forgot to mention the version of Drupal is Drupal 11. So this default is Drupal 11, and then the doc root will be web. So the first step is done. The next step is ddev start. Good. So the second thing is ready as well. Step is done. Now the third step is to download Drupal recommended, which is Drupal 11 actually. Drupal downloaded. Now we need to install Drush, and this will install Drush 13. This command may be not needed 5 because we already have 8.3. So if your version of PHP is lower than this, then you need to do this. We will skip this one, and then we will just restart the ddiff. Sorry, restart or start? Okay, now we need to install Drupal, and this is ddiff drush site install command. Username is admin and password is admin. It's Drupal installed, and now we will just launch it. So the new Drupal site is installed, and we will log in. Now you have to believe that we have a bare bone Drupal installation, nothing else we have done. So now we will be piling on all the steps so that we can achieve what we are going to achieve. I'll go back to the steps so that I don't miss anything. What should be the new next step? Drupal devs. We should create a new Drupal theme. And how is that done in Drupal 11?
From startup, it's using the command.
Good. So create a custom folder inside web themes custom. I have not had any luck with first things first. I will open the same folder in VS Code. And I do trust them, otherwise I won't be able to play with the code. Okay, so inside web themes I will create a folder custom, because that command previously didn't work for me if there is no custom. Then go to the root of your as before where we are, and we will just copy this command ddiff this. By the way, we have chosen for this tutorial the name of the theme should be and is Alpine. So ddiff PHP web core scripts Drupal generate theme Alpine dash path is going to be theme / custom, and just within a second it has generated that theme for us. And if I go to the custom folder now, and it has all the necessary files we need to carry the theme forward. Now we want to have Tailwind CSS in our theme as well as Alpine JS. And Tailwind, as you know, requires a bit of settings. So we'll do that. And today is the third day of Tailwind 4. So while I was preparing for this presentation, there were a lot of changes. That's why it took a bit of time, and we'll be installing the brand new Tailwind CSS 4 version in our Drupal theme. So what we can do is we need to go to the root of the newly created theme and issue this command. So for this I will use, inside the theme I will use the Visual Studio Code terminal, and outside of in the root I will use the normal Mac terminal, so that we don't have to jump between the two. So new terminal, cd themes custom tailpine, and probably it is going to be web. Okay, now here I need to have this command run, ddef npm install Tailwind CSS. This is a new one. While installing Tailwind 4, you have to issue this one, Tailwind CSS / post CSS, the post CSS and post CSS CLI. What does this command normally do? Npm install. Anybody?
Yes, it installs node modules.
Exactly. It basically creates this package .json file. So you can see the dependencies are post CSS this, post CSS CLI, and Tailwind CSS, right? The next step is, it doesn't have the script tag. We will need to add that. So in the main in the root of the main folder, we need to create a folder, but there already is a CSS folder, this one, which gets created for you with that command I issued. So here I will create a main.css file outside of the components directory, or maybe you can create your own custom folder as well, but here I'll create a new file and name it main.css, right? So it's outside the components folder. By the way, we don't need this components folder anymore, because we will be using Tailwind as well as any of our custom CSS, so maybe we have to delete it at some stage. But inside the CSS folder I have created the main.css file, right? So this step is also done. The step 2, now create another folder with any name. I will call it dist. So you might have seen this is one of the inside the Tailpine folder. I'll create a new folder and call it dist. So this should have a new file of main.css. It will be auto generated, but for now this is the one I have created. So what it will do, actually, we'll write our source CSS here. Once the setup is done, the Tailwind setup, it will generate all the classes into this main.css, and this is the one we will be including in the theme. Got it? So this is going to be source, and this is going to be the destination file. So this is also done. Now the next thing is, we will have the scripts written. We don't have the scripts session, so inside the scripts section in package.json file, I will copy these two and move on to the package.json file, and here we will add a new section. We'll call it scripts, and this is also going to be an object like this, and I will just paste this. So the build, if the npm run build command is issued, it will run this command actually. So what it will do is, it will get the content of main.css and output it into the dist main.css, and if we have to watch it so that all the changes are automatically copied over, then we will have to use the watch command, right? So these are the only two ones. So this step is also done. The third one. Now, by the way, Tailwind 4 does not recommend tailwind.config.js, but for backward compatibility, as we have been using tailwind.config.js previously, so we will be using this still. So create a tailwind.config.js file, and we will add all this into the tailwind.config.js file. So I will create a file and name it tailwind.config.js in the root of the theme. New file tailwind.config.js and paste all of that content. So what it actually does, how many of you know how Tailwind compiles classes? So basically in your template files which are ending up in html.twig, if there are any specific Tailwind classes, it will extract those classes into the main.css destination file. So we have to specify all the possible directories where the files can have these Tailwind classes. So all of these are templates, and also we will have a components folder. So components, and I think these are enough, and then the raw. So that's it. So tailwind.config.js file is ready. Now we need to have some post CSS config also. By the way, this is not just JS file, this is MJS file. So we will create a new file, post css.config.mjs. So it is again going to be inside the root of it, of the theme. So post css.config.mjs file. Here we have to paste these 2 lines of code. It is going to just export this plugins array object with this setting. So this is post css.config.mjs file. So this step is done too. Now let's start to run our build or watch script in the terminal. Where should we run it? Inside the theme folder. So we are using this inside the VS Code. The terminal is this. So I will copy this command. Okay, here you need to run the ddef npm run build command. Maybe scripts is. Thank you. Good, it has built the file. How would you know that the file has been built? Anybody?
Build folder will be created.
The dist main.css file was empty, and now it still will be probably empty because we are missing 2 directives. So in the source main.css file it is empty. So if we go to the documentation of tailwindcss.com, and these are just the fresh new documents, docs. So it just needs to have this add import Tailwind CSS. Just add import Tailwind CSS. So inside the main.css, the source main.css, we should have this one, and we need to include the config.js file also, and there it also, I think it is import. We will have to go one directory up, so it will be this, and then tailwind.config.js. Okay. Hopefully if I run that command again, so if I run that command again inside the terminal, and now if I go to main.css, so it has added a lot of stuff. How would you know that any of your CSS file is being captured by the build process in Tailwind CSS? So let me give you an example. For example, inside the template directory, just a rough it's a block. Here I will create a new div and I will call it CSS class for Tailwind any
Text.
text dash red dash 300, for example, right? So the Tailwind build process actually scans all your directories for code and extracts the classes it needs. Otherwise the output file would have been a lot heavier if all of the unused CSS classes are also used in the final output. That's why it just checks your code and then it extracts the one you have used only. So here, if we do it the next time, if we build the code again, but prior to building it, this is main.css, I will just control F and search for this class. So there is no listing of this code class, right? But if I build it again, or maybe if we can just watch it, so it is watch is for watching. And if I now go back to the main.css and search for it, means it didn't watch it.
First of all, we have to save it.
Save the file.
Save the file.
Which file?
Suppose we have the class.
Okay, some files were not saved basically.
Twig files.
Quick file, yes. Save now. So now there is one listing of text this. Is this clear?
Yes.
So there might be a question in your mind that if Tailwind has got hundreds of classes, it will be making the final output very huge. But that's how Tailwind just checks your code and extracts only the classes used, right? There are times while you might have used something in Tailwind and that would not be reflected in the design. So most of the time it is only because of this reason that the classes are not added to the final. So maybe you need to debug something. This is one of the things. Okay, on to the next step. This is, the Tailwind setup is ready for our theme. Okay, what's the next step without looking into the code? There is one major thing missing still. The CSS file is generated, but it is not included in the Drupal theme. So we need to create two libraries, one for including this main.css file and the second one for Alpine JS. So let me quickly copy these two things to save time. And if you are watching this presentation, hopefully you know how Drupal adds CSS classes, files and JavaScript files to its theme. So I'll go to talpine.libraries.yml and at the end of the file, here I will just paste them. So the first library is main, the version is this, and this is that file which was generated by Tailwind for us, so we are including it now. It should be theme wise. Why? Because we will always need it in the theme. And then the second library is Alpine JS, so the name of it is Alpine, and this is the CDN URL for it. And that's, maybe if we can also add one more, sorry, defer true, but this syntax has changed, probably it now needs a attributes, something like some attributes. So you can check the newest version in Drupal 11. But okay, so the next step is to add these two libraries, main and Alpine JS, to the .info file. So the libraries are these. At the bottom of it, we will add two more keys. One is an tailpine/main. This will add the CSS file, and this one tailpine/Alpine. This will add the Alpine JS library, right? Okay, if we come to appearance, and we have this Tailpine 1.0.0, and we will install and set it as default version. And if I go back to the site, so this is just bare bone version of it. How to test that our CSS file and the JavaScript files have been included? We'll go to and then just Control F main.css. Maybe we need to clear cache. Oh yes, good point. Okay, I don't know if this is Drupal 11's power or DDev's power, but I have never seen Drupal so fast on my local machines. Drupal 11 plus DDev combination is super powerful. Look at these links. Just click and you are able to access them. Okay. The next step is, so how to test if both of the files have been included. If we go to view page source now and search for main.css, so you can see this is the main.css file which has been included. And the second one is, if I go back again, and the next one is Alpine. This is Alpine JS, and it's also working. So now we need to move on and set up Storybook. So Drupal has a Storybook module, and Storybook basically is a component based system. Very powerful, and we will also be using it. So the concept is, for example, you will create all your site. Maybe you have a Figma design, you will create all your site in Storybook for clients to show, even for your own reference. And then Drupal will be using those design for its components, and it really works well with SDCs, single directory components. So there is a lot to learn. Let's dive into the world of Storybook with Drupal. So the first thing is, we'll install the Storybook module, right? And the command to use is, you can go to drupal.org, but let me just copy it from here. There is one permission. Once you install the Storybook module, render Storybook, because often this is forgotten and then your stories won't be working. So we will have to do it first up once we install the Storybook module. Okay, we need to enable it as well. So ddev trash en module enabled. Now I'll go to permissions search for Storybook, this one. So this render stories, Storybook stories, this permission should be given to anonymous user as well as authenticated and all, so that if Drupal sends this output to the Storybook book instance, so you should be able to see those stories. I will show you what a story is. Okay. The next step is, this is very important setting, and by the way it often gets rewritten also, but I will copy this for core setting, and you must know what cores are. So I will copy these values and go to development.services.yml file. But before this, I think we need to copy inside sites. This is the example of settings.local.php file. I will copy this and move it into default, and here you will have to rename it. The next step is go to settings.php, and at the bottom of the file you will have to enable this, include it, so that it is included, these 3 lines. So now it will include the settings.local.php file for us. It has a development, and if we move out of the default directory, we have the development.services.yml. so here we need to add those lines again. So I will copy it again, these ones. Okay, and here we need to paste these 2 lines. By the way, this is these Storybook development true, and then cost setting, and also we need to enable disable the twig cache and rendering and all that. So we will copy these lines as well. It should be in this line, right? twig.config debug true, autoload reload true, and cache false, right? This is normal stuff for any. This is only the new thing we had to do for cores. Maybe you have done it for some reasons in your local development environments as well. So this is all needed from Drupal's setting.php or development.services.yml, so that your stories could be easily visible from Drupal. Okay, the next step is, you can run these commands also, but we already have done it, so no need to. We will have, by the way, inshallah, a blog post also of these steps, so you don't need to worry about them. Now for DDEF users, because there still are some issues, this one is those who are aware of how Docker works. So exposing ports, all of these settings are related to that, and maybe your Storybook instance should be accessible from your main site URL also. So all of these settings are here. I will copy these and move it to in .ddef file. This is .ddef file for your environment. Here in the config.yml, after the last working line, here I will just paste them and save. Okay, so it has these container ports and all the settings for these, and even the Node.js daemons. I will save it, and after this, so that these changes take effect, what we will do is we will restart the DDEF server. So DDEF restart. Okay, so it has been restarted. Now the next step is, it was all about installing the Storybook module in Drupal. We are yet to install Storybook itself. Storybook is a, you can say, a JavaScript based, it's totally separate from Drupal. So the module has been installed, but the Storybook package needs to be installed, and the place where we are going to install it is the root of our project. So we'll go to the root of our project. And for the root terminal, I will use the Max native terminal here. So we can use the wizard also, and I think that's the best option. Otherwise, I have written the steps also, but wizard based installation is fine. So what we can do is, this is the command ddiv exec npx storybook latest init. Maybe npx is not working, so we will then have to change it to npm, but let us try first. So ddiv exec npx storybook latest and init. Just like in the root of the theme folder, we had to use the init. Here again it will create a package.json file. Okay, so it has done all the I think it has done it, but we should
Do we install it inside the theme?
no, it should be in the root. Are we in the same? Yes. So let me issue this command again. Okay, basically I had to press enter 2 times, that's why I probably just went through it. So do you want to manually choose the Storybook project? So you will use Y, and then here you have to choose server. Okay, because Storybook is for all these platforms, for example React Native, all of this, but here we will use server. Okay, this is normal on my system. This is an error spawned xtg open. It basically opens the environment itself, but we will have to make one small change. But I will just show you which files or folders have been created with this command. So if you go to the root of SDC4 now, so this is the stories folder, ignore it for now. The other one is this dot storybook. This is hidden from file system normally but visible in PCA. So here these are the two settings we will tweak a bit. And then this is the package.json file, and it has all these just with that one command it has installed these things for us. And this is that server webpack 5 version which got installed. Here in the script section there are two commands, storybook and build storybook. So build storybook will build the whole storybook folder for you, and this will just be kind of doing it as one instance. So here we will just add one more thing, --no -open, so that we don't get that error again. This no open on my environment is not working, but maybe it works without this on your environment, so feel good to leave it if it works there. Now the command to run is storybook, so we will run it again. It will be gdf npm run storybook. That's it. So it has run everything. Now we will manually copy it and open it in the browser. So storybook is locally installed on our environment. One more thing, you can access it with this is SDC4 site is our URL. So follow it with the colon 6006. That's it is accessible on this port also, and this setting was done in that config.yml of ddef, so that it is also accessible via the URL site URL. Okay, the next step is okay there are two small steps we need to follow. In the root.storybook folder main.js file, make the following changes. So if I go, I will copy the first one first. So this is the stories folder which has been created automatically with that command once you initially install storybook. We don't need this actually. Okay, the stories actually will be you can say extracted from our components, SDC components. So we don't need this folder, and we can even delete it. But for now, in the main.js file there is a setting where should it look for the stories here. So by default it is this one. I will comment this line out and add the one we need, and that is web. So any folder inside because SDC components can be added via modules also, just not theme. Okay, so modules can also have SDC components. So here we have added the web anything .stories .yml or JSON files. From there it will extract the stories info. So we had to change this. Also we need to make one more addition to this, and that is static dir's images. So whichever images we use, and there is a drupal.org issue also, I will open it in a while. So we need to add one more setting here, and that is this. So any images use inside the stories, you should add those images to this folder also. So let me quickly create that folder in the root images. You will know why we have added this. Okay, don't worry. Now the next step is this is that issue I was referring to. So until this is resolved, or maybe some other recommendation are done, image not displayed correctly because image path is relative. So for that purpose there is a solution for here, and I have copied it here, this one. So it works until this is fully resolved. The next step is and that's all you needed. Now we have the ground to create SDC components, and remember this is going to be a workflow for your new projects, so it's a very powerful one. We have set up Tailwind CSS, we have set up Alpine JS, and now we are going to create SDC components, and you will know why it is important. So to save time, I have already created 2 or 3 folders. These ones, components. I will copy the components first and move it to the side SDC4. Where should they reside? Anybody? Web, themes, custom, Alpine, and here at the root of the your theme you should have all the components. Is this clear? So I'll open one of them for now. Rather than opening it, let me just quickly run the command. One command we are missing. Okay, so there is a command which will generate stories for us. So if I open any of the components, this is web, themes, custom, components, and let us start with, for example, this CTA component. This is very easy, simple CTA component. Any file, any component should have a dot, or must have a .yml file. The name should be the name of the folder, and then cta.component.yml. So .component.yml is must. If you open it, so this is the name, this is schema, you can add it, you can copy it from drupal.org, or maybe if we are contributing this theme, which we have a plan of. Then call to action link, it should have a props key. Props means properties. So just like in React JS you have props, similarly that is the concept. The type is object and the required is text. So any component can have some required variables also. You can skip this if required is not needed, so you can skip it. Then the properties, in properties basically these are the variables, individual variables. So this is text, this is href, and this is target. These are 3 variables. You know what the link should have a text field, so that and then the href and target. Is this clear? Yes. So this is self understood. So the type is string, title is this, description is this, and even if there are some examples you can add those as well. So this is self explanatory, you can go through it. The 3 variables which are inside this component are text, href, and target. So if I go to, I'll delete this file for now. Okay, the second thing is you can add your own JavaScript and CSS files pertaining to that particular component. So for example, this is cta.component.yml, so this is cta.css, so it can have your own CSS files. Any CSS can be added here. Similarly, any JS can be added here. So there you will have to use the normal, I have not added it here, but the normal JavaScript behaviors, JavaScript code, right? Do you know about JavaScript behaviors in Drupal behaviors rather? So any JavaScript can be added here. Then the most important file is cta.twig, this one, cta.twig. So this is the output file of any, just like any twig file in Drupal. So remember, it should not be html.twig. Okay, this is going to be just twig. So cta.twig, and it can have anything. So you can have classes. If target is not empty, because this is that variable which will be used here, so you can set attributes of target is equal to whatever the target is. And similarly, the attributes dot add class, you are going to and by the way, this attributes is available here. Okay, so add class, all of these classes can be added. If href is not empty, href this, all this. Is this clear? So we have two variables. One is button type. So for example, this can be danger or success or whatever. Okay, is this clear? So this is the output of the twig file. Now one more thing, this is normal Drupal. If I delete this file, ignore it for now, the cta.stories.twig. So this is normal Drupal, and your functionality of SDCs will work without this cta.stories.twig. But your story won't be visible in Storybook if you don't add this file. These are two things, okay? Remember, this one is for Drupal or the output in Storybook, but you need this as metadata to Storybook so that it can extract or create a .json file for you. This one. So previously there were different solutions, but now you can create from a twig file a JSON file, and Storybook requires a JSON file actually. So we'll go through this one also, cta.stories.twig. Okay, it starts with the stories tag. This is a new stories tag, stories and then end stories. Okay, so one stories file can have many stories, so it can be, this is story start, this is stories end. Then there can be individual stories, so that starts with just story. So one stories can have multiple stories. So this is start and this is end story. So this is one story. I will show you what one story is. Okay, this is one story, and now this is second story, this one, and it ends with end story. Is this clear? Okay, so it can have a variable, and the args are text is this, href is this, and target is this. And then each story, it can embed a component, a Drupal component. So that's what it does. The Tailwind is the name of the theme or module where the SDC component lies. So the name of the SDC component is what? CTA. So the embed, this is that it will be included. cta.twig will be automatically included. You don't need to specify the path. If you have set up the SDC component correctly, then it will be automatically included for you wherever you are in the Drupal file system, themes file system. Okay, you don't need to specify the full path. So Tailwind, it means the theme and this CTA component included with variables. Which variables? Text. So this text is defined here in the arg section. Text is I'm header, href is this, and target is this. Is dummy data for Storybook. Okay, so whenever you embed Tailwind CTA, for example, it needs these variables, and those variables are passed so that they can be printed here in the main twig file. Understood? So you are, as a Storybook and Drupal developer, what your role would be, this file is for you can say decision makers, clients, or even your own reference, so that you can output Drupal's output in a Storybook environment, right? But the .twig file won't create JSON files for us. Storybook needs JSON files of this interpretation. So this is very this is great work by this guy who has done all this, and you might know him. I met him in, or if I go to Storybook Drupal, I met him in DrupalCon Portland also. Very nice guy, Matu. This is his Drupal.org profile, and he has done a lot for SDC and all this. So his name is Matu, right? very nice guy, and we in Pakistan are thankful to him, and hopefully we will be also contributing alongside him in this ecosystem of SDCs. So what he has done is, from this twig file, we Storybook knows the .json format, not twig, but this twig is for Drupal developers so that they can easily create stories. So there is a drush command, and this is drush storybook generate all stories. But prior to this, I need to delete all the older ones because I copied it from another site. Delete. In the cards, I will delete JSON. All the files which are ending in .json, they are basically generated with this drush command. And the CTA, open close, where is this, and open close group. I will leave the CTA one open here. Now we don't have any .json file, right? But if I issue this command, where is it? Again, this needs to be in the root. So let me create a new one, new tab actually. Here we run this ddef drush storybook generate all stories. So it will read all the SDC components, the twig files, stories.twig file, and extract the information needed for storybooks in the form of a JSON file. And all the stories have been generated. Sorry, JSON files have been generated. And if you go to CTA component, you can see there is now this JSON file. And this is all the metadata required for stories to work properly. Now if you remember, we had to change this .stories main.js path because our stories are inside the themes directly now. So we will reissue the command so that a new instance of storybook is generated for us. This is, and maybe we need to ddef drush cr first and then issue that command. So if I open it, or maybe we can access it with the server URL also. Where it is? This one. No, this one. SDC 4 dot site colon. Okay. Ignore the buttons one. This one is the CTA, right? So okay, this is the CTA, but there is this window and the controls. So you can test your, for example, you have created you want to add some extra text to this button. You want to know how should it look. So these are those three variables: text, href, and target, for sample purpose. And where are they going from? I will go back to the themes, custom components, CTA, and here in the stories.twig we have defined them here. This is the first story. This is the first story, default one. So its variables are text is IAM header, link is this, and the second story is secondary. It's called secondary, right? So now we have two stories there. You can have two examples of variants on the same story. So this is the first one default, and this is the second one. Got it? Okay, but it all can be dynamic even. For example, you have just this one, and if we create another variable here and change the color, so that can be changed. Even the text can be changed. This is, so if you want to know how should a link be, with extra text, so it can be like this. For example, there are two columns and you want to know how should the column to the right behave once the link is very long, so you can test it here. It's clear? Okay, we have one card which is, and here that's the reason why we have that images folder. Images are not rendered. Normally they do render, but in this module, that issue which I mentioned, they are not rendered in the, so whichever images you have passed, this is the card one, you have to copy those images to that directory. So I will do it now. I will quickly, I already have them here, this, rather I will just copy the whole folder and move it to SDC4. Okay, if I refresh the page, and maybe we need to relaunch it. Let me clear caches. These three things you will have to do normally: clear cache, restart the Storybook instance, okay, one more thing I need to do, probably we need to rerun the, if watch is not working, image still is not working. Had we saved the main.js file? Static ds dot images. I think this was not saved. So if you need to restart the, just close it and then restart it, so that the new settings take effect. Okay, now the image is visible. Even here, this is the title, this is the text, so you can change all of this here just to see how the text feels like. Okay, this is just one card, okay, and three same I've just mentioned. If you have three separate designs, or styles or some variables to pass, so you can add all of this. For example, cards can have maybe 10 different styles, okay, so all those 10 styles can be listed here and you can just go through it. And how are the variables passed? So if we go to the cards component, this is the cards component. Similarly, just stories.pig here, this is story default, so it has all these variables, and those variables are output in, these are the output variables inside the main twig file. So image, top text, main title, whatever, this is self-explanatory for you, right? And this JSON is for storybooks, so you can change those variables or controls here. Okay, one more thing, how should it look in responsive, or so you can have this is storybooks power, and then you can even, where it is, light mode and dark mode. Also this one is the grid. Normally in Figma you have grids or lines, so you can even use or compare the grid design here. Maybe there are some grid settings to set in Figma also, sorry, in Storybook. So prior to launching, the workflow should be prior to launching a Drupal site. If you have got the Figma designs, you can start immediately on all those designs, and they can be ready even tested here. Then you can have small mobile, large mobile, and tablet. All of those settings can be set here as well. And then this is the ruler. If you need to get something into and this one is for outline probably. Let me just get it off, and then the outline. So every item can have some outline, so you can do a lot of testing. Can you do the same thing in Drupal without you need to test your component in Drupal. So how would you do it without creating content types or paragraphs? Can you do it without creating? No. So that's why that's the answer to the workflow. Without creating content types or in any of the Drupal structure, you can test your code. And you all know your Drupal code is based on the Twig code, right? Output is based on Twig. So you can create 100% Drupal ready code with all these variables, and they will be visible in Storybook for you. Is this clear? So I will ask now a question: how will be your workflow as a Drupal developer now onwards? For example, if I have to create this design, for example, so what should we do? We will create a for example paragraph type with title field, background image field, this date field, and the text field, 4 fields. Then in its template, what we will do is we will call this template, this card dot story dot this the dot twig file, this actually. So that paragraph type will include this, but what will you pass along? This is my question. It has these variables, so from that paragraph type you will just pass these variables. Once that is included, we will do it in a while, you will know what I mean. Okay. So this is the cards one individual card component. The second component is cards header. So how is it behaving? I will check it in Storybook. So this is cards header, and this is the default card. Let me get all these things off. Is our CSS properly configured? This type was for clearing cache. For some reason I have set it up in 3 columns, but it is showing in 1. Maybe some CSS fix is needed. I will leave it here for now. The second one is CTA. So we already have discussed CTA. CTA has 2 types, default and secondary. Okay, the third one is collapsible. So this is doing it via, we can write our own JavaScript also, Drupal based JavaScript, but this is done via Alpine JS. So I will show you its code as well. So the collapsible one is this one is open close. So it has these variables text and detail. So text is the top, the text, when this is clicked, the detail will show up, and the output is this. So it has the Alpine directives, very simple, and just some transitions. So basically this is going to be an open close kind of collapsible widget for us in this system. Then this one is collapsibles, so it's a group basically, so it can be an accordion for you, right? So it has its own code, and it has this twig file, sorry, and all of the variables. So you will prepare all the logic of as per your Figma design inside these STCs, even without creating a single content type or paragraph types. You can test it, you can do everything with it. Once it's time for Drupal and all of the testing is done, then we'll switch to Drupal, and after the break we will create 2 paragraph types and link these SDCs with it. So see you in a while. Thank you. Welcome after the break. So we have one typo or maybe mistake in the main.css source file. It should not be tailwind.config.js import, it should be add config. This is the new rule for Tailwind 4. So add config. Now hopefully if I refresh and it is building, the CSS is already, yes, it is watching it. So if I refresh, or maybe it already has been refreshed for us, and yes, now the cards, the header cards are working fine. So if I go back to this, it means this is the first card, this is the individual card, and now this is the headers. So basically it is including these individual ones. This is the CTA, this is one, and this is second, and then we have the collapsibles. This is single collapsible, and this is the accordion style. Okay, so now we need to link. For example, all of your design is ready. Now you need to link it with Drupal structure. So maybe it is content types, views, or paragraph types, or block types, or whatever. So now let us first create a CTA for a paragraph type for CTA, right? So that it takes this design. So let us quickly go to the site we have created. Okay, here we need to, maybe we don't have paragraphs module installed yet, so let us go quickly to the paragraphs module and install it. I will quickly go through all these site building steps because you already are aware of it. The first thing is to enable the paragraphs module. And then let us go to the site structure, paragraph types, and we'll create a new paragraph type and I'll call it CTA. Let me add one more module, and that is link target. If you remember in Drupal, I'm not sure why it is a separate module. Okay, both modules we needed are installed now. So the manage fields for paragraphs CTA, I will create a new field and it will be a link field and the name is link. Save. If you go to the manage display, so by default it is link, the formatter, but we'll change it to link and sorry, have we enabled the link here? Sorry. Link with target, sorry, it was in the form display. Save. The next step is to create a field on a content type so that we can link these paragraph types. Go to content types, maybe on the basic page, and I will create a new field and it will be of type paragraphs. I generally call my paragraph fields as content and it will have just for now one paragraph which we can reference. Now quickly let us create a link. Basic page, testing, link. So the URL should be maybe drupak.com, the text is Drupak, and select target. Target should be this has come with the target module, so maybe new blank and then save. So we have created one link and this is this Drupak, but now we have to link it to the SDC component. So I already have, to save time, I will go to documents and presentation here. I will copy the whole paragraphs folder for now to the site we have. So web themes, and remember it should be inside the Tailwind's template folder, and then there is, by default is no paragraph, so we will just paste it here. I will open. What is this? What got copied?
Create a new field. Just paste it.
Okay, so paragraphs has been copied. Now if I go to the code, where is paragraphs? In the Alpine templates, paragraphs. Let me delete the untitled folder first. Okay, so this is paragraph -cta.html, normal stuff for paragraphs. The name of the paragraphs and then the template. This template will take effect once we. So we will create variables, simple variables, or maybe you can directly pass this key. So this is href, this is text, and this is target. Why are we creating these three? Because the output in the components needs these three variables. So if I go to the component CTA, so this is the twig. So here we can see the target. And by the way, even not from the template, you can have a lot of code inside your twig file. If you go to the component.yml, so here you can know the variables it requires inside the properties. So text, href, and target, these are the three variables required for the component. So we are now supplying those components from paragraph CTA to we are creating these three. And then the button type, I need to create a button type variable also, sorry, field, I forgot to create this one. So if I go to structure, paragraph types, CTA, manage fields, and here I will create a new field and it will be of type selection list, and then the type name should be button type. It will list text and it will have two fields, one is primary and another one is secondary. For now, secondary, right? So this is primary, this is the machine value, and these are the labels, and save. Okay, I will have to edit the content we already have created, and for now it will be, we will choose the type to be primary and save. Okay, so this setting is for this paragraph. If this field is not empty, so the button type is this it is also a variable basically. Now we will include the SDC component. And how is it done? Tailwind, the name of either the module or theme. So the theme where we are SDCs reside, it is Tailwind, and the name of the component is CTA. So it's being included with. So these JavaScript like object is passed to the this SDC component. And what is this? The button type, href, text, and target. This is we have not mentioned it in, and I will, this is on purpose actually. So we can use if condition on this variable inside the twig file, but it is not supplied to Storybook. But for now these three are the required ones: href, text, and target. So this output will now be basically shown to the user based on this. And the button type is this is coming from Drupal, not from Storybook at the moment. So button type, we are making any decision on the class. And if you go to the cta.css, so here this is that dot secondary. So if it is secondary, so secondary class is added, otherwise it will be primary. So primary will take the default. So if we now clear the cache, right, hopefully things are fine. So it's shown in the and if I edit it and change it to secondary, so now it will be this. If I have to change this red to, for example, yellow or some other color, green, so what should I do? Should I go to the paragraph CTA? Storybooks code, and this is that one point of reference where you will have to change the thing. So here I can change it to, for example, green or whatever. This is green. Save, and it will be reflected there. Is this clear?
Yes.
Now the second system is, we need to create the card component and the cards header component, and you already know how it displays in the Storybooks environment. So this is single card, sorry, this is the cards header, and these are the single cards, right? So we need to do the same in paragraphs. So any guesses what should we do first? Paragraph experts, please. We'll create the paragraph type. But let me just I already have the file to save time. The paragraph, this is card header, paragraph type. So these are the machine names. So let me create the exact fields with exact card title, card date, and card text, and card image. Date, top text, this image. Okay. So let me create first the paragraph type. What should it be? This is card or single card, for example, single card, and it should have these fields. So what are they? I will just go quickly through. Card title, date, top text, and image. So it is going to be plain text. Names, I remember. Card title. So card title, this is also card date. Maybe you should have a date field, but for now I will take it just a text field, and then top text card, top text or card image. So card top text, and card image. Image. Is this normal image or media? Item dot field. Image entity dot URI dot. I think this is normal image. What's the name?
Card image.
By the way, you should use media. So card image and save. Okay, I think this paragraph type is ready. The next is we will create a the card wrapper type, card group or whatever you can name it. And what should it have?
Single reference there. Single card.
Yeah, so paragraph, sorry, when I create new field, it should be paragraph, and it will be inner content, and here we should only access this card group here for now, right? Inner content, and it has two more fields also. If you go to, again this is point of reference for you, if I go to the header, so you can see this is, you can come from block in Drupal, but here this is the section title field. Then these are the inner paragraphs. So this latest update, we need to have a field for it, which is section title, right? So here we should create a new field, text field. We call it section title, just to be very precise. Okay, and save. So now we have two fields, one is section title and then the inner content. So if I now go to content, add content and basic page, and here we should have now card group. What is happening?
I think the reference paragraph is wrong. Yes, that's the issue.
Sasha,
We have reference along paragraph in the wrapper one.
inner content. It was referencing itself. Thank you. Okay, so if I go to content again, add content, basic page, testing, cards, and here we should add card group. So now these are the inner ones, right? And this is section title. So for example, the first one, this is first title, yesterday. This is top title, and card image. Maybe I have something in the downloads, home hero. I don't like this image. Let it be some dark one. Okay, this is one, and the section title is what? Latest updates. Okay, this is one, and we can add more single cards also. For now, let us just, this is second title, this is today, whatever it is, and this is second top text, and the image and we can add one more also. This is third, and date is day after tomorrow. This third, top text, the image. So let me add this one again. Okay, so the structure is ready, and this is the content, right? Now we need to, maybe we need to fix something here. So the right link is section link. Okay, there is one more thing missing. Section link is also, if we go again to the this here somewhere we have a link, maybe I'm missing, but let us not include it for a demo purpose at the moment. Okay, what are we missing? This is it. Okay, so this should be what? Alpine. I will just let you know about what this is doing, but let the design first show up. So if we did div dash cr, what is the name of the paragraph? I think the name of the paragraph is card dash group. So we need to change it to card dash group also. Rename group. Changed. Card dash. Okay, let us comment out this line. How to comment it? Okay. This main title, this is I think everything is fine now. Alpine cards, okay. So all of this is now dynamic. How was it made possible? First we created the SDC and then the corresponding paragraph type, right? And even the section is here. It is absolute copy of your story. Okay, one more thing, I have done it without slots. Let me go through the code in both the components as well as the paragraph type. So if I open the cards header, this is the card header, right? It has, sorry, first let us use the okay, in the stories.twig file, because I wanted to have dynamic storybook, so this is a variable I have set so that I don't change any of the twig files from the SDC for the purpose of showing it in storybook. So this is a nested object I have created, and you can create nested object in twig also. So it has, this is actually an array which has objects. Okay, so 3 objects it has. All of this is a variable, and these are just static data, right? So for your storybook you need this structure so that clients or the decision makers can see it. But we don't have content in Drupal yet, right? We had no content in Drupal or paragraph types, so we needed this dummy content. we needed this dummy content. Then we included the card 1 header, the single one, with these. This is the section title, this is right link, we have removed it from there, but this is the nested object. What does it do? It passes this variable to the single card header, the card's header, as an object, right? So the object is passed to, sorry, an array or object is passed to the cards 1 header. So if we come to the cards 1 header, here we are looping through for nest in nested. This is being passed, so we are looping through it and including the single card, and it requires these variables nest dot, because this is now an object, right? So what do you mean we did all this for Storybook's dummy data? But if we had to change it again on the paragraph level, then it will be changes in two places, which is not fine. It is not serving the purpose of SDCs. So please let me know what is the expectation of this card 1 header dot twig. What is the expectation? It needs a nested object so that it can loop through all the data in it. It just needs the nested object. Which nested object? With just this data, this. So nested object should have data like this. Now your role as a Drupal site builder is to provide this nested object from your Drupal structure also. So what you should do? You should create the same nested object which this card header needs. So in your paragraph, group paragraph, here from your fields, you can see I have defined a nested array, empty array. Now I am looping through. For your inner paragraphs, you loop through it like this,
Yes.
right? So what we are doing is you are assigning values to the obj object, and then it is looped, so it fills the nested array with all the Drupal fields, and then you pass. This is all the logic you can, if you are familiar with Twig, you should know that I am creating an array empty and then filling it with the fields of in a loop. So at the end, this nested is full with all the fields data. Then here we just embed the Tailwind header where it expects this nested object, right? So it's passed there, and then the logic is the same. So both ways, from your SDC for the sake of Storybook as well as for Drupal, you need to have this same logic so that you don't touch any of the Twig files in future. Got it? So you should always have such stuff. This is one of the ways to do it. And also, if you go to slots in Drupal documentation, so nested paragraphs can be held, or the wrappers should be made with slots also, but I like this method as well. If you don't use slots can, if you go to slots in SDC Drupal, so you have info about it. Okay, so just like props, there are slots also. So slots basically provide chunk of HTML rather than fields. So we could have used slots also here, but I have just, from the header wrapper, I have included the child paragraph and passed the data into it. Is this clear?
Yes.
Hope this is very clear. Okay, now anybody who can recap what we have so far studied? Abdullah?
What we actually did is we first created the storybook component and multiple stories in it, and then we went on to create the Drupal structure and required field for them. So then we overridden the templates for paragraphs. So we created the component as paragraphs in Drupal. So we overridden the templates, and actually we embedded inside the paragraph templates, we embedded the storybook file for the HTC component file, web file, and pass the required values from the Drupal fields, which were actually part of the Drupal paragraph structure.
Good. Okay, we can include SCC components into other SCC components as well. So let me have an example of it. For example, this is the cards style 1, the individual card actually. And here I need to, after this is the, here below the card, individual card, I need to have a button. And which button? This is CTA, maybe CTA. Okay, we had made it green, red, let us make it orange so that it is visible on the blue color. Okay. Okay, now I want to have a button in the individual card also. Where it is, cards. I want to have a button here after this title, but I want that button to be this CTA, not any arbitrary code. Because what's the advantage of it? So that if I have to change the style of this button, I will just change it and it will be changed across the whole site. So what we can do is, first you need to know which variables are required for a component, and from where we can know it, the component.yml file. So here this requires text, href and target. 3 variables are required for this component to work well. So what we can do is, in the cta.twig file here, this is the text. So below the text we need, no, this is not the card1 twig file. Here below the main title we can create a new div, and here we can include the CTA. So it should be something like this. Include and it is, sorry, Tailwind colon CTA, and what we can do is with this JavaScript object. Now you need to specify the 3 variables needed by it, right? It should be, so what are they? How can you can note, okay, I'm sorry, this is card CTA, this text, href and target, right? So where will I have to go? Cards on header, not a single one. Twig. Okay, so it should be, please remind me, text, it should be hard coded text, then href should be maybe http drupak.com, and the third one was target. Target is underscore blank, for example, right? So now this is going to include the Tailwind CTA component with this data, these variables. And now we will clear the cache. So where the change will be? In cards 1. The syntax is right. So maybe you can see the button has been added here. This is hard coded text. It is reflecting in Storybook also. So if I refresh the page now in Drupal, so we have the hard coded text now. But my question to you is how to make it dynamic.
So we have to use that CTA.
You will have to have a link field and the card.
Just prior to making dynamic in Drupal on the Storybook side, how to make it dynamic. So you basically need to okay, so this CTA which we are including is hard coded inside the card style 1. So I will leave it to you to make it dynamics. Just a hint, these need to be variables also. For example, this and href, and similarly this one should be also a variable target. Then whenever you are including this card style 1 dot twig,
Single quote.
whenever you are including this, you will have to pass these 3 variables also. Okay, and from where you will have to do it inside the stories dot twig. When you are including, for example, here you are including card style 1, so you will have to pass those 3 variables here as well. And in the args, the story args, here you will create those 3 variables, right? And it will be passed the this theme. And from Drupal the same, when you are including, you will have 3 variables created, for example, in any paragraph type or whatever. So it's very easy actually. This way it will become dynamic. So the main point actually was you can include other CTAs, other single directory components also in. I will leave it as hard coded for now. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay, now let us move on to just 10 more minutes I will take, or maybe 15. We'll install some modules. You can take a lot of benefit from this SDCs through site building also. So let us create go to SDC display. I will have a separate session on using site building with and then again this is from Metu, and I will install it. Maybe we need to change the minimum stability of our composer.json, so let us make it beta. Okay, we may also need, there is a module no markup Drupal. Any guesses what this module does?
It remove the extra markup.
Exactly. So there are divs and all such stuff around fields, so it basically removes those. And probably it needs
It
And also we need to have field group module. This one. Df dash en field underscore group sdc underscore display and no underscore markup, no markup. Okay, all the modules have been initialized. Now let us let me create a new card type, right? This is the card group, this is single card, and maybe we can just call it for now card. One thing, there is one more module, it's called, if it has it doesn't have the 11 version, there is similar module as well, field mode, yeah, view mode switch field. So you can switch view modes with using this module. We can use this module also. df dash en mode underscore switch. What's the advantages of view modes in Drupal? Anybody?
For example, if we can make new as uses for the designs, like for example, if we have a speaker view, and then we can make it of speaker displays, different displays of speakers, so we can use as
Yeah.
designs.
Yeah, it's a very powerful concept in Drupal, and in a separate session I will hopefully have all of the details about it, but right now we will just quickly go through a few demos. Okay, so if I go to components card, let us try something. This is, and if we clear the cache, maybe we don't need this ugly button now, you just know what it does. So if I go back to the card one, I will remove this div and clear cache so that this button is not any further in the design. Okay, so one of the elements in our design is collapsible. This, it's a header, the title, and then this is the body, right? We need to make it dynamic, but we need to make it dynamic via, not from the code, but from the Drupal's admin screen. So we can create a paragraph type of, maybe we can call it collapsible or whatever, right? Even we can create a content type. So let us do it from content type aspect for now. So in structure I will go to content types and I will create content type and call it collapsible, for example. So it already has a title field, other content types, and then we will create a body field. Content types do not have body field now, so we are to add it. Format text, continue, call it description, and it should be maybe this one, and continue, save. Because two fields now, so add content and collapsible, right? So title and description. When this is saved, I want it to appear in that collapsible format, right? Test link and some lorem ipsum would be better. Okay, so right now it is not functioning. I think we have some problem with the manage display setting still, because we have chosen the SDC component to be used to render this page, but it's still not working. So let me go back to the content types, manage display of collapsible, and then if we come to the full content display mode, because we have enabled it, and I think yes, so this needs to be selected, and one we need is open close. Even if you have the thumbnail, it will show it here. Okay, the fixed values, it requires it add static mapping to all to other props and slots in the component that are not populated by the field value. So test and test, whatever. Okay, so in the props, the title should go to the title. This is a title field, and the detail will be from the description field, and save. Now the setting has been done. If you go to content and then the test link, hopefully, I think this is it, and yes, it is working fine. So the Alpine JS based collapse component is working well. So similarly, if you want to, for example, display something in the relevant card component, so you will have to do something like this. Okay, let us practice this again. For example, if I create a new paragraph type and I will call it, let us call it even the single card, we can, if I add the single card now, we will need to change the paragraph settings, because we are only including the content types, basic page, manage fields, and this field content settings will need to include all. Okay, so if I create a content this is going to be basic page, testing, single card. Okay, and if I add the single card, so this is title of single card, then date, and the top text, this is this text, and then the image if we upload something, and save. So right now it is not being displayed in the relevant place. So for this we will go to the manage display. Your instinct should be, if you have an entity, so you should go to the manage displays settings of that entity. So I'll go to single card and manage display. Right now we have no view modes enabled. So view modes, the combination of view modes and these manage display screens is very, very powerful. What we can do is we should go first to display modes and then view modes, and in the view modes we will create a new mode, and it should be for the paragraph type, right? And which bundle? The single card. So here we will call it card 1 or whatever, right? And save. So now this is a new manage display, new view mode, and if you go to the manage display of the relevant entity types, manage display, here that card 1 is available. Okay, so if I go to card 1 now, we can have separate setting for this. And before this, let me just check all these remove field markup, so that the divs around remove field markup, this comes from the no markup module. Remove field markup and remove field markup. I will have a detailed session on this, but right now let us do it this way. Okay, one thing, what are the expectation of the module here? I will save it. What does the component needs for the image? If you go to the image, it is just text, means the URL. If you go to the single, this is the single, and this is image, so image source equals this is not image tag, it's the URL, right? And you can know it from the components.yml also, this one, this is just the string. Okay, so what setting do we need here? Any guys good in site building?
URL to image format.
Very good. So the formatter of the image field should be URL to image. That's it. That was the change we needed. Save. Okay, now how much is the power? Even the whole component can be rendered as a single directed component here, and even a single field can be rendered as a single component. So imagine the nested component we used for buttons, for links. So if we have a link field, for example, we can just choose that, and from there it will be included. Okay, so here using we will create a we'll check it. So which component? It should be the card one, card style one, right? And it needs this section title, maybe if card style one, not the header. Okay, the naming is not right. It is called style one, sorry, both of them are named this. So this is the machine name, Tailwind card style one, right? And the fixed value should be title, date, this needs it for some reason. Now you can do the mapping here. So the top title should go to card top text, the date should go to date, the main title should go to, where is the main title, this card title, and the image path should be the card image. That's it, and save. Once saved, now this component as a whole will be rendered as single directory component. Hopefully if I refresh the page, and okay, what is missing? Anybody? We right now paragraph doesn't know in which view mode it is being rendered. So what we need to do is we need to create that field in the paragraph, which is known as the view mode switcher field, this view mode switch field, and I will call it view mode. Which view modes to include? So card 1, and you can include the both of those as well. The default is also fine, and save. View modes allowed to switch to a field is required. View mode. Okay. Okay. Now if I edit the content, and which view mode? Okay, this is this view mode. Maybe there is a change we need to do. View modes allowed to switch to origin view modes too. Now it's working, should be working now. Okay, so if I go to this, and now it will be card 1, right, and save. Go to the node page, so it is now being rendered in. So the workflow should be, you should have multiple view modes, and each view mode associated with a corresponding single directory component, and that's the settings then you will have to make. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay, the power of view modes, as I was saying. So for example, I add 3 more such images, nodes, right? Add content, basic page, and second image, and what it should be, single card, and this is another card, this is date, this is top text, whatever it is. Now we should upload some other image, and let it be some t-shirt. Okay, the view mode should be card 1. This is such a powerful system. If you have multiple view modes and then multiple single directory components, so you can choose all of those and save. Okay, now this has been, 2 nodes have been created. Okay, now the next step is we have 2 more. One is this collapsible, this is a single one, and then this is the multiple accordion type components, which are actually SDC components also. We will be doing something from site building perspective and using these two SDC components to output our content. So we'll create paragraph types for these and some site building techniques. And you might have also noted that I have installed the field group module also, so some trickery with the field group module also will be used in one of the paragraph types I will be creating in a while, but that is going to be the last. First I will go for this single one, collapsible. So just like we did it for the node, I will do it the same for the paragraph type and this is going to be a powerful one because you can have anything inside this collapsible. Right now it is having just text, but we can add anything else also with the header title, and if that is clicked, that will be revealed. So let's do it. I'll create a paragraph type and I will call it collapsible. Collapsible, you can call it anything. Okay, now the paragraph type has been created. We will add some fields into it, and we can also reuse fields. So what I will do is I will add a title. So maybe we can reuse some field, and this is section title, so I'll call it title, or maybe in section title is fine, and save. Next we will have a nested paragraph item, so that the content inside is housed here, and it can be anything, text or image or maybe some whatever. So what we can do is we will create a new field, rather we will reuse the inner content entity reference field we have created for the card group, which we have used in the card group. So we will reuse it, and it can have maybe CTA, single card, and card group, whatever, but not this one, because maybe we can make it nested also, but for now I will leave it like this and save. Similarly, normally in Drupal structure I like to have a text only paragraph type with a text field in it. So let me quickly create that also. So if I go to paragraph types, I will call it text only, and this will have a text paragraph type, and maybe this one, or let's create a new field and we'll make a formatted text, formatted long, and the label will be text, and continue. Maybe basic and full HTML. Okay, so this is a paragraph type with a text field in it. And similarly, we can have an image field. So if I go to other, if we have any image field, so we can have a single image only paragraph type also. So I will call it image only, and in it I will reuse one of the images. This is card image, so we can reuse in it this paragraph type. Okay, so we have two new paragraph types. One is text only, one is image only, and both have the respective fields in it. Now the inner content field should have those as well in, so image only and text only, and save. Now I am going to create this content of any content, and then we will choose the collapsible so that it appears in that particular single directory component. So I'll go to content, add content, and I will create basic page, and it is going to be testing collapsible paragraph. I will add collapsible. So for collapsible, this is the section title. Maybe we should move it above the inner content, but can we click here to read about us, maybe, if this is just one question in an FAQ, for example. So I will add a text only. Let us grab something from lorem ipsum. I will paste it and save it. Okay, so right now it does not appear. Ignore the labels to save time. I'm not going to remove them. So right now it is not appearing in the format of this SDC component. So what I will do is, we need to change some manage display settings for the paragraph we created, collapsible paragraph. So go to paragraph types, collapsible, and manage display, and here we can have multiple view modes also, so that because this is something really powerful. If you have multiple view modes and multiple SDCs, you can do the same which I'm going to do now, and you will have a powerful system. So I will render this default paragraph type of the collapsible in open close. This one, this is the name of that collapsible against in our storybook now, and because it has a compulsory field, so you will just give it test for now, test, and here are the settings you need to make. So the title should be section title, and the inner content should be detail, and you can even judge it from here. Whatever is inside the inner content, inner paragraph type, so paragraph type, that will be inside the open close widget, and I will save it. So now if I go to the content and testing, so the section is here and the inner content is inside it. And we can remove the title so that you don't confuse it. Maybe let us just quickly do it. So if I go to paragraph types, collapsible, manage display, so here we can hide the labels and just save it. So now this is just a link, and inside it there is this. Also, if I want to display an image inside the, so I can do another testing collapsible with image. So we'll add collapsible, and then show image should be the title, for example, and then I will add a single image only, and we can upload it by default. By the way, you should use media, but for the sake of simplicity, I have used images. And now if I save it, so show image, and then the image is inside the collapsible. So this is very powerful. You can have anything inside the collapsible. The next is this accordion. So this is that accordion we want to build now, and again we can do it with the paragraph types. I will create a new paragraph type, and let me just this is going to be a combination of these single collapsibles. So what we can do is we can create a wrapper paragraph type. We'll call it collapsibles. We have this individual one which is collapsible, and then we can create a wrapper or parent paragraph type, and we call it collapsibles, right? So inside the collapsibles probably we just need for now, and not, it all depends upon your structure, but we will reuse the existing field of inner content, and in this we just want to allow the users to have the collapsible widget. That's it, and save. So now this paragraph type has inner content, and it will have the collapsible. It will have just one sub paragraph type which is collapsible, and if I go to the manage display, let me hide this to this. Okay, I will leave this screen here, and if I go to the content, add content, basic page, testing, accordion, or you can call it collapsible or whatever. So here we can now add the collapsible, this one. But we can also add the add collapsibles. We just we want to have a combination of these collapsibles. So I will click on this because this is the new one we created, and now inside this we can have multiple so I'll choose click here to, or maybe let me just do it about us, and then we will add some text to it, or maybe some image. I will remove the image now. I wanted to add text, so it will be text only, and let me add this. This is about us. And then another collapsible, and this is mission, and this will be another text, and similarly we can add another one, and maybe here we need to show some image, so some pictures, and here I can upload a image, and I will save it. So again, this was what we got. Everything is working fine. It is the same accordion, and with 3 elements about us. This is the mission, and these are some pictures. So with just this tricks inside building section, you are able to achieve this. And of course you can use paragraph templates in code to have more control over such nested paragraphs, but if you can carefully do it inside building also, you can achieve a lot. The next is we can even combine, and as I said, we have installed the field group module, so we can combine different fields into an SDC component. So how? For example, if I create a new paragraph type, I will call it maybe for now let me just call it miscellaneous. So it will have one text only, maybe just field underscore text. So this paragraph type misc will have one field and then a section title and the inner content. So inner content again can be a nested paragraph or anything like this, but for now I will just make it maybe another text. So let me choose another which one should I? Okay, we can quickly create another text area field. So I will create a new one. It will be formatted text or maybe long text, or description is not a bad label, and save. Okay, so we have now three fields: the text field, the section title field, and the description field. Now this one I need to, for example, this field should be just text, but these two I want to turn into a SDC component. So you can do such things also using field group. So once I do it, you will get what I actually want to get. So I will go to manage display, and here we can create a field group. We'll call it it is going to be single directory component, and I'll call it maybe collapsible or whatever. Save and save. Create group. Okay, so this collapsible field group has been created. I will move it to the visible section and move all this one, these two, section title inside the collapsible and the description inside the collapsible, and I will save this. Probably I need it to save it first, and now it is inside the these two. So that means one text field is outside the field group, but two of them are inside the field group now. And we will go to the single directories component setting in the collapsible field group, and here we will choose the open close one, this one, and we will just give the dummy values for the fixed ones. And here the section title should be the title of the collapsible, and the description should be the detail, and update, save. Okay, now if I try and add this paragraph, testing compound or testing miss paragraph type should be title. So if I add misc, this is the title which is outside the or some text outside the SDC, but these two will be part of the SDC. So click here to read more, and then maybe some more text like this, and save. So this is section title, and this text is outside of it. So you can see we can have multiple. Let me just quickly hide the labels. So go to mistype, manage display. Let me hide all of these. So if you have say 10 fields in a paragraph type, so you can break them down into multiple single directory components like this by creating multiple field groups and moving them to the respective ones. So this gives a powerful setup for your content structure in Drupal. So this is click here to read more. By the way, this is outside of the, if I go back to the MISC manage display. So we're going to make it to the top. So this text is without it. So this text is outside of the single directory component output, but this one is part of the single directory component. So there was a lot to learn, and thank you very much for staying. And the main goal was to make the SDCs appear in the Storybook interface so that you can test them, check them, and then we need to have structure in Drupal. So with the techniques like site building also, we can use those single directory components. And also nobody can stop you from using paragraph templates or any other Drupal entity templates, and you can embed those single directory components from there as well. So thank you so much. See you next time in some other Drupal tutorial. Bye.